And action. This was the best $10 I ever spent. What is going on, guys? Today I'm back. My name is Cage, and as you guys know, it's Croctober 23rd today. So last year for Croc Day, I made a second part to the 25 reasons Crocs are the best shoe in the world, because you guys obviously loved the first one. So instead of making a part 3, because I feel like that would just get really repetitive, I'm going to be today comparing every single type of Croc and giving you guys my opinion on the best Croc to buy. So I'm going to be rating them on 5 different things: look, comfort, price, customization, and variety. So obviously look and comfort are my opinion, but the price and the customization and the variety are all based on facts. So I'm going to be rating them on a scale of 1 to 10, and then at the end I'm going to be rating them all on a scale of 1 to 50 and seeing what pair of Crocs overall is the best. So I contacted my friends at the Croc store, and they were nice enough to let me film a video in there, so we're going to head there now and we're going to take a look at every single pair of Crocs and see which one I like the best. Alright, starting off with the Literide Clog, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 on looks. I really like the sleek design. Moving on to comfort, after trying on every single pair of Crocs in this entire store, I can tell you with full confidence this is the most comfortable Croc I have ever put on my foot. That's getting a solid 10 out of 10. These come at a price of around $55. In terms of customization, you can't really put normal gibbets in those holes, so for that reason, I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 10. And for variety, I'll give it a 3 out of 10 because there weren't a ton of choices there, but there were still a few. Alright, so next up we got the Literide stretch sandal, and in terms of looks, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 3 out of 10. This is not my style. I'm not saying they're ugly, I'm just saying that for me personally, I wouldn't necessarily wear these. This is actually my sister wearing these. That's not me, as you can tell, because there was no size that fit me. But according to her, they weren't the most comfortable compared to the other Crocs, so we're gonna give it a 4 out of 10 on comfort. These Crocs are gonna set you back about $45. And in terms of customization, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 0, unfortunately, because there's really nothing you can do. There's no holes for gibbets. I mean, you get what you get, basically. And in terms of variety, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10 because there weren't very many options there, so yeah. Alright, next up we got the Crocs Freesail printed line clog, and I think these look pretty cool, so in terms of looks, I'm gonna give them a 7 out of 10. Again, unfortunately, I couldn't try these ones on because there wasn't my size, so this is my sister. She said they were pretty comfortable, so I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 on comfort. Looking at about $45 for these ones as well. In terms of customization, as you can see, the holes on the clogs are pretty much the same as normal ones, so I'm gonna give that a 9 out of 10. In terms of variety, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 4 out of 10 because there weren't a lot of options there, but there were still a few. Alright, next up we got the classic slipper, and I have never seen these before, so these were brand new to me. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5 out of 10 on looks because I think they look kind of cool. According to my sister, it was about a 4 out of 10 on comfort, and these are a little cheaper, coming in at only $30. In terms of customization, there's really nothing you can do. As you see, there's technically holes there, but they're not actual holes, so I'm gonna give it a 0 out of 10, unfortunately, on that. And variety, there was literally only one pair, like not just one color, just literally one pair there, so I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 10 on variety. Alright, moving on to classic Fuzz Mania Clog, which is a super fun name to say, by the way, and just look at these. I mean, these are the most insane looking Crocs I've ever seen in my life. Apparently they're a brand new thing that for some reason I hadn't heard of until I walked in the store, but I think they look super cool, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 9 out of 10 on looks. In terms of comfort, they basically felt like a normal clog, so I'm gonna give that an 8 out of 10. For these, you're looking at about $50, which honestly is a pretty good price. In terms of customization, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10 because as you see, there's no normal holes on the outside, but if you look closely on the strap, you can see there's 4 holes on either Croc, which means you can put gibbets on the strap, which is pretty unique, and I like that, so for that reason, getting a 4 out of 10. In terms of variety, I'm giving it a 3 out of 10 because there weren't very many options there. I'm assuming that's just because they're new, and I'm assuming in the future they're gonna have more, but for now, it's getting a 3 out of 10. Alright, moving on to classic line clogs. I have a bunch of these pairs myself. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 on looks because I think they look amazing. In terms of comfort, I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10 because they're super soft and fuzzy on the inside. The damage is about $50. For customization, I gotta give it a 10 out of 10 because like normal Crocs, you can put gibbets in all those holes. And in terms of variety, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7 out of 10 because there's not as much as the normal clogs, but there's still quite a few options there for you to choose from. Alright, next we got Crocband clogs, and I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 on looks because they look very similar to normal clogs, but they're just a little bit different. In terms of comfort, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Now that might have been because these weren't exactly my size, but I felt like I was leaning forward for some reason. I don't know, maybe it was just me, it was probably just me, but I'm gonna still go ahead and give it a 4 out of 10 on comfort. These are also gonna set you back about $50, and in terms of customization, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because, as you guys see, has all the holes like a normal Croc would have, so you can put the gibbets in there. And in terms of variety, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 because there weren't that many pairs, but there were still a decent amount of pairs for you to choose from. Alright, next we got the Bayaband Clog, and it's very similar to the Crocband, but I think this looks a little cooler, so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 on looks. In terms of comfort, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7 out of 10. It was a little more comfortable than the last one. Got about $50 for these ones as well. In terms of customization, I gotta give it a 10 out of 10. And variety, 5 out of 10. Alright, moving on to probably one of my favorites from this entire video is the Literide Pacers, and I've never never even tried these on up until today, but I gotta give them a solid 10 out of 10 on looks. I think they look insane. In terms of comfort, I'm gonna give them an 8 out of 10. These are a little more expensive than other Crocs. They're gonna set you back about 60 bucks. In terms of customization, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give these a 0 because there's really not much you can do there. In terms of variety, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give it a 3 out of 10 because there weren't a lot of options there. But if it means anything to you, I decided to actually get this exact pair of Crocs that I tried on because I liked them that much, so yeah. Alright, moving on to the Literide Mules. This isn't really my style. As you can see, those are my sister's feet because I couldn't fit in any of them, but that's not really something that I would personally wear. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 2 out of 10 on looks, and according to her, they were about a 4 out of 10 on comfort. Price comes in at about $55, which in my opinion is a little high, but hey. In terms of customization, there's really nothing you can do. I mean, there's not even like small holes, so I'm gonna give it a 0 out of 10. And in terms of variety, there was like one pair there, so I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 10. Santa Cruz is our next pair we're gonna be looking at. I'm gonna give them a solid 7 out of 10 on looks. I think they look pretty cool. They look a little different from normal Crocs, but I think that's still dope. In terms of comfort, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7 out of 10. Got about 55 bucks for the price. Unfortunately, there's not much customization you can do here, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 0 out of 10. And in terms of variety, there were quite a few options, so I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Moving on, we got the Yukon Vista Clog, and I actually got this exact pair from my dad. Well, I think it was a different color, but I got these type of Crocs from my dad because he wanted a pair. Well, he didn't really want a pair, but I got him one anyway. And he seems to really like them, so in terms of looks, I'm gonna give them a 7 out of 10 because I think they look very unique and they're very cool. In terms of comfort, I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10 because it basically feels like a normal Croc, and you can actually adjust the strap, it looks like, so you can make it bigger or smaller depending on your foot. So for that reason, 8 out of 10. In terms of price, these are on the higher side, coming in around $60. I think it's worth it though. I think there's a lot you can do with these Crocs, and my dad seems to like them, so there you go. Customization, unfortunately, is kind of lacking with these. There's really no place for gibbets, so I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 10 on that. And in terms of variety, there were quite a few pairs there, not a lot, so I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. Alright, next up we got the Croc Reviva slide, and I'm not a huge fan of slides. I know a lot of people are, so for me, personally, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10 on looks, but I know a lot of you are gonna disagree with that. In terms of comfort, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10 because it had these little like bumps on the bottom, which I don't personally like, but I know some people would like that, so for me personally, 2 out of 10. Coming in at around $40, unfortunately, the Reviva flips don't have much customization options as there's no holes, so I'm gonna give it a 0 out of 10 on that. And in terms of variety, 3 out of 10. There were a few options, but not a ton. Alright, the next one we're gonna take a look at is called the Croc Reviva Flip. And in terms of looks, I mean, I was wearing it with socks, so I look like a freaking idiot, so I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10, but that 2 out of 10 is mostly just because I didn't want to take my socks off. I'm saving that for my OnlyFans. Do I have to say I'm kidding? I probably do. Surprisingly, these are actually pretty affordable, coming in at only $30, and unfortunately, not much customization, so 0 out of 10 on customization. And in terms of variety, 2 out of 10. Alright, next up we got a pretty interesting one. We got Crocs Classic Bayaband Clog, and I think these look pretty cool. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 on looks. In terms of comfort, let me put it this way. I'm 6'2" normally. When I put these on, I'm like 6'5", and yeah, as you can see in this next clip, I almost roll my ankles, so I'm gonna have to give it a 3 out of 10 on comfort. These come in at a price of around $55, and in terms of customization, 9 out of 10. I mean, there's holes you can put gibbets in. Variety, there was literally one pair there, so I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 10 because if I were to buy this pair, there would just be none left in the entire store. Alright, next we got the Neria Pro 2 Clog, and in terms of looks, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. And in terms of comfort, they felt a little tight on my foot, so I'm gonna unfortunately have to give it a 2 out of 10. Got about 55 bucks for the price, and in terms of customization, again, 0 out of 10. And variety, 2 out of 10. Alright, here we got another running shoe looking Croc called the Literide Mesh Lace. And in terms of looks, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I think they look pretty cool. Not quite as cool as the other Crocs that looked like running shoes, but still pretty cool. In terms of comfort, 6 out of 10. It felt like a normal running shoe. This is actually one of the most expensive Crocs in the entire store, coming in at around $65. In terms of customization, unfortunately 0 out of 10, really nothing you can do here. And in terms of variety, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 3 out of 10 because there were a few pairs there. Alright, here we got the classic Crocs slides, and in terms of looks, I'm not a huge fan of slides. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5 out of 10. In terms of comfort, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5 out of 10 as well because they don't stay on my foot as well as I would like. For price, these are actually surprisingly cheap at only 25 bucks, which is pretty cool, honestly. Customization, gotta give it an 8 out of 10. And variety, 6 out of 10. Alright, I have to save this one for the end. This is the classic Clog. I gotta give it a 10 out of 10 on looks. I mean, this is like the face of Crocs. Everyone knows what this is, and I think it looks amazing. In terms of comfort, gonna go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because those other ones from earlier in the video, somehow were like way more comfortable. I don't know what they did differently, but yeah, still really comfortable though, so definitely 8 out of 10. 45 bucks is the damage, which in my opinion is not bad at all. And in terms of customization, definitely gotta give it a 10 out of 10 because I mean, you can do anything you want with these basically. And in terms of variety, I have to give it like an 11 out of 10 because I mean, there's literally so many, probably endless amounts of classic clogs you can get, and my dream is to one day have them all, but yeah. Alright, so we just got back from the Croc store, and as you guys can see, it is the middle of the night now. We literally spent like over 2 hours there. That took a long time to film, so hopefully you guys appreciated that. Hopefully this helped you when you're picking out your next pair of Crocs. It'll help you decide whether you prefer comfort or style or price, and you can combine all those and find the perfect pair of Crocs for you. That's about all the time I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I would really appreciate a like on this video. That would help me out a lot. Happy Croc Day to you guys, and can I end the video?
No.
You don't own me.
And you chose not to invite.
Oh wait, I have to try these ones on too. Okay, here. Wait, is this gonna be my size?
But you wanted me for a good time.